I spent some time layering in some additional small details in my animation, and I'm ready to start polishing the animation by adjusting all of the function curves in the graph editor. I'm a big believer that all roads lead to the graph editor. This is where we really get to add that fine detail into our animations that spring them to life and give them a great sense of believability. Now, luckily for us, the graph editor is a easy to work with space, but I understand that there are some challenges in understanding this new language of these function curves and how they interpret and influence our animations. But we're going to do this one control locator at a time. We're going to follow a structure that's not too dissimilar from the dope sheet structure. We'll work on at the kind of the macro view and then kind of take steps forward into details. Well, the biggest detail that we have is the block itself. So we're going to start there. If you try to adjust all the function curves for all the control locators and at one time, you're going to go crazy. There's so much information on screen that it'll be darn near impossible for your simple brain like mine to parse all this info. So we're going to do one thing at a time. I'm going to start with the shuttle, the big block here. And I remember that it's just really kind of moving left and right. There's not a lot of information in there. So let's do this. I'm going to find X location, and I'm going to zoom in on its function curve. Now, the default here is pretty good. I'm gonna really focus all of my energy just looking at the movement of this. Let's play it back. I'm going to try my best to block out the chain and just look at the quality of movement that the block is having as it goes from left to right. And generally speaking, it's pretty okay-sies. I like it. It looks like it's moving, it looks like it's leaving, starting, and stopping its animation a little bit too quick. So luckily for us, we don't need to change too much, but we are going to change the weight of the tangent handles on the keyframes itself. So I've grabbed the first one in my graph editor, and what I'm going to do is just fire off the scale tool, which is going to make it bigger or smaller. Small movements. So where it's flat and horizontal, it's going to be moving slow. Then as it increases speed, the pitch, the slope is going to increase and it's going to move fast. So I want it to slowly begin and then get fast and then slowly end. So on this one, this next keyframe, I'm going to scale it out as well. So it will slowly end. So we're not changing the keyframes locations, nor are we changing their values. We're just changing the spacing, how the computer is transitioning between the keyframes, the speed in which it's transitioning. Let's see what kind of impact that has on the animation. I'm going to focus all of my energy on the first movement of the block. That way I'm not confused by anything else. Yeah. See, I want you to look real carefully and compare the first left to right movement from the second right to left movement. There seems to be much more energy in there because it slowly starts, gets to full speed really quickly, then ramps down. Watch carefully. I'll play it again. I'm going to play the entire thing. Watch the beginning, the first part, in comparison to the second part. Here it comes. And then that one just kind of feels lifeless. That one's cool. Like it's a motor that's getting to full speed. And the second one, because I haven't adjusted the curves yet, just doesn't have that kind of punch. Doesn't have that realism that we're after. Let's do it real fast. Let's grab the second keyframe. So this keyframe here and this keyframe down over here represent the movement going from the right to the left. So kind of going back to its starting point, if you will. Let's grab the keyframe. I'm going to scale out its tangent handles. Do the same thing downstairs on that second one. Let's see what it feels like. Always play it back at frame rate, hitting the play button. Oh yeah, I may have gone a little too far, but you can see that these small little changes, when really exaggerated, starts to bring it to life. It creates this kind of unexpected quality to our movements that it's intriguing and interesting. It's not flat, constant, and boring. It's exciting because you can see that it's full of life and a little bit of energy. All right, the other thing that I want to focus on real fast, since we're working on graph editor stuff, I really want to look at that weighted bowling ball down there at the bottom. I think there's some opportunity to create some really great interest in this. I know that I'm working on rotation values for this guy. Now, when it comes to working with rotation values, remember, we're going from 0 to 90 degrees or so. It's degrees of rotation, radians of rotation versus meters. So if you're looking at X position data, that's meters of movement versus rotation, which is degrees of rotation. So the values are going to be wildly different from each other. All right. So let's look at this guy. It looks like it's going to be Z rotation is going to be the one that I'm after. Now, what I'm looking at here is that I want to create the illusion of nice, slow, consistent arcs with that weighted chain. I'm going to go through and evaluate links 1 and 2 using the same idea, but really I want to have nice, slow interpolation, big arcs in here to create slow, consistent movement. Okay. Now, at the beginning of this, let's go to the first keyframe. Yeah, we want slow movement. Remember, this is like a roller coaster. So this is keyframe 1 for that third link, that bowling ball. Its slope starts to go kind of up. I think maybe a little too soon. What would happen to the illusion that we're crafting here if we were to scale that up? Have it be a real slow start. Ooh, I'm digging that. That felt good to me. I like that. I'm going to work on that second bit. Looks like it's moving a little too fast in here. But let's figure out that second bit. Here's the second keyframe. And this is where we're starting to rotate kind of like off screen, where it does that little flip at the end. That great little follow through of the movement before the block starts moving back that way. What if we grabbed that handle and scaled it this way, just to really slow down its movement? I may have gone a little too far. Yeah, let's bring it back a little bit. May have gone a little too crazy with that one. Yeah, it's these small little details there and get us to where we want to go. Sometimes the graph editor does a great job of exposing problems that are animation. When you see the function curves itself and how fast and slow we're transitioning between these values, we can often see some areas that are creating some bugs that we were maybe not even aware of. Look at the way the curve is being drawn down here at the bottom. We have a keyframe here on frame 55 that establishes this pose that you see on the screen itself. And if you look at how it's transitioning between the keyframe on 54 and the next keyframe on 57, yeah, it looks like it goes way too fast on frame 70 there. So maybe we can make some adjustments. Sometimes the graph shows you where you need to make some changes to get those nice big sweeping curves. Yeah, let's see what that gives us. Yeah, I'm feeling this. This is looking pretty cool. I may even want to change the location of this keyframe. And this is one of the fine-tuning things that we can do in the graph editor to give us some really great results. If you look real carefully, the curve comes down, and then it kind of does this little hump in there. Well, what if we change the rotation of that just ever so slightly to create a much smoother curve? Let's just see what that gets us. I don't know. Let's find out. Oh, yeah. Doesn't feel as clicky anymore. It feels like it's being pulled by the block. Yeah, I got some work in here that I need to do, but this is the type of thinking that I'm going through as I'm evaluating the curves in my graph editor. I'm looking for sweeping curves. Things that look real angular are going to be robotic. That was great for the Pong assignment where we wanted it to be real bouncy, kind of clicky. But now we're looking for sweeping, smooth arcs. So we should be looking for little kind of bobbles and wiggles inside of our graphs, because those are going to be areas where the animation is going to get a little off a little bit. So keep that in mind. I'm going to do the exact same type of evaluation for link number 2. Let's see if there's any sort of changes in here that we can make to link number 2, just to give it a little bit more life, a little bit more energy. We're evaluating the curves. Yeah, same one down over here. See how it gets real angular as it goes back up? What if we just smooth that out a little bit? Play it back. Oh, yeah. I like that very much. So this type of work is a little bit granular. It's detail-oriented, but small little changes to the way that the computer is interpolating all these function curves is going to make our animations just spring to life and give us much more detail than was already there.